The Eurovision News Exchange, or EVN as we lovingly know it, is maybe just 3 little letters to somebody else that doesn't work in our environment. It's not just quality news, reliable news. It's also news that you can't get anywhere else. It's unique.
I first got acquainted with the news exchanges in the late 1970s, when we're still working, to a certain extent at least, with a 16mm film, before we went over to the videotape.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
But we were enthusiasts, we believed in what we were doing, we were happy to share the news because the quality of all our programs were improved by that.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
When I first started my love affair with broadcast news, we were working on film with scissors and white pencil. Now we're filming and transmitting from a backpack on our shoulders. We're editing on our telephones, and we curate social news.
I've sat through a brilliant time. We just saw the end of black and white, the wonders of color, the wonders of high definition. Money was available, talent grew.
Franco ha muerto.
When I first came to Geneva back in 1974, those 3 transmissions with a few items in each transmission kept us rushing all day long. So we had a really valuable tool. We had a really interesting and important news exchange, which was administrated with a fully manual system.
If we think back to September 1961 and what the committee members were thinking when they said this good idea of exchanging news content was something that they wanted to continue, I think they would have had no idea what they were starting and what they would see today, where 100+ items every single day are exchanged between members. We have 3 live signals that you can pick up at any time, and all of it is available on a mobile device if that's where you want it.
Hence the 2 or 3 tests they did with something that should have been a slam dunk. Yes, we can exchange items. Yes, sending items along a microwave network beats sending it by plane. It's faster.
You had to rush film, process it, edit it in order to transmit it. It would be shipped by plane to the nearest broadcaster to be injected on the network.
And then the plane didn't arrive because there was fog or there was a strike or whatever, which is also where our first satellite transmissions came from.
One thing that hasn't changed, though, is why we do all this, the principle that underpins every endeavor at Eurovision News Exchange, and that is helping members help each other. Help each other stay relevant, stay ahead of their national competitors, ride that digital wave and weather every financial storm, and above all, keep the trust of their national audiences.
The cooperation, the exchanges, that we as small individual members can exchange news with everybody, that we can exchange experiences, that we can build on the principle of public service, and so that we can improve the quality of all our programs.
One of the reasons I took this job to come and be head of Eurovision News here in Geneva was because of what we stand for, because of the principles underpinning the whole news exchange. I didn't know at that point that the Eurovision News Exchange was nearly 60 years old, but it doesn't surprise me that that collaboration, that spirit of solidarity, which we all feel and we all value so much, is still alive and well 60 years later.
We have been able to take up and to let new members join, particularly since in the 1980s when the Berlin Wall fell, and we could be joined by our Eastern and Central European colleagues, and that we were able together to go from the analog system to the digital system.
For most public service media, the digital revolution has been a little bit like the industrial storm in the 19th century, a social earthquake. But for me personally and professionally, the big revolution came when that figurative and literal wall in between the East and the West fell. This is when, in 1993, Intervision and Eurovision joined hands, and they decided that united Europe deserves a united organization. And when it felt like every single door out there was opening to us.
Our challenge is to build confidence, to give the news and to tell people to tell the truth from facts. We're giving the facts, and we let the people decide what is the truth.
The trust is still there by a sizable part of the audience, and it's clear that when there is a national crisis, the audience again increases, because that is ultimately where people turn to.
What comes after the digital and the social revolution? Who knows? There are many predictions, but very few crystal balls out there. One thing is certain. As long as people continue watching news on whatever platform, whatever circumstance, wherever in the world, and they will, because that is human nature, they will always come back to public service television, because that is the gold standard that everyone else is just striving for.
And I would like to tell my colleagues in Geneva, in all other member countries, that I'm so happy to have been able to be part of that organization, and I wish you who have now taken over good luck for the future.
And now we're looking at collaborating in even more ways. We look at a European perspective, which is how we're sharing digital content, online news stories. And we've just started that, and I'm really excited to know what's going to be happening to that in a year's time, in 5 years' time, let alone in 60 years' time. And this ability of ours to keep coming up with ideas of how we can help each other, how we can make this trusted and reliable news content available to more audiences, is what inspires me, and I think what inspires all of our members to keep collaborating and to keep working together.